So good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome and thank you for coming this morning. My name is Chuck Byam, and I'm the inspector in charge of our Road Safety Bureau. As we are getting started this morning, first I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge this ceremony with our land acknowledgement, please. So we acknowledge that York Region is located on the traditional territory of many Indigenous peoples, including the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Métis peoples. And the Treaty of the Territories of the Haudenosaunee, Mississaugas of the Credit, and and Williams Treaties First Nations. Today, this area is home to many diverse Indigenous peoples, and we recognize their history, recognize their spirituality and their culture, and the stewardship of this land. We also acknowledge that the Chippewas of First Nations, Georgian Island, First Nation, is our first and closest First Nations partner. Thank you to everybody for coming this morning as we launch our 2025 Festive RIDE program. And that's made possible by the funding from the Ontario government, the province, and the support of MAD's Red Ribbon campaign and MAD's York Region chapter. We will have 4 speakers today. And they'll be providing remarks, messaging around our RIDE program, but also our ongoing fight against impaired driving. And we will hear directly from families that have been impacted by impaired driving today. As you can see all around us this morning, there is a display of our partners in fighting against impaired operation. This is not just a photo op. This is an actual symbolic display of our commitment and resolve to end impaired driving everywhere. We have a section representing York Regional Police and our enforcement vehicles and the enforcement side of our efforts. But we also have a consequences section where we have our partners with Markham Fire, York Paramedics, CAA Towing are here, Chapel Ridge Funeral Homes, and our York Regional Police Prisoner Transport Unit. We also have a display of alternate ways to get home, and we thank our partners from York Region Transits for providing that and symbolizing the need to plan ahead. And we also have an education and prevention section, and we'd like to acknowledge our road safety partners that are here today and here with us, and we encourage you to visit the booths after our speeches today. MAD of York Region, Arrive Alive, Drive Sober, Parents Against Driving High, CAA, and OSED, so the Ontario Students Against Impaired Driving, from St. Augustine High School right here in Markham. We'd also like to thank the City of Markham for providing us the venue today that we can provide opportunity. We'd also like to thank the members of the media that are here today as partners delivering the important messaging around ending impaired driving. Our unified goal is to stop impaired driving, to keep our roads and our trails and our waterways safe. I'd like to ask our first speaker to come up this morning, Acting Chief Deputy McCloskey. And I'd also like to ask our families that are present here today to come and stand with Deputy McCloskey as he is making his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Chief Jim McSween, I want to thank you very much for joining us as we launch this year's Enhanced RIDE campaign for the holiday season. I'm pleased to be joined here today, this morning, by my colleague, Deputy Chief Paulo da Silva, and many of our district commanders and officers across York Region and the Ontario Provincial Police. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge some very important people. First off, MAD York Region President Rebecca Blight. Thank you for being here. Justine Ellis, widow of Stuart Ellis and her mother Carrie Turrell, who lost their husband and son-in-law to an impaired driver. Carrie Turrell is the wife of retired Superintendent Graham Turrell, who I know most of you in the media have heard about and heard from speak about their family's loss for many years now. We also have Jennifer Neville Lake. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the tragic and senseless loss of her father Gary and her children Daniel, Harrison, and Millie due to an impaired driver. We have Melinda Laporte, life partner of Constable Travis Gillespie, and Lori Gillespie, mother of Constable Travis Gillespie, who we'll hear from shortly. We're grateful that you're all here today and that we get to hear from some of you, offering your personal perspectives on the impact of impaired driving, as difficult as I know that will be. We sincerely appreciate you continuing your tireless effort to combat this widespread problem. And as we embark and prepare for another enhanced RIDE deployment program over the holiday season, I want to recognize Superintendent Bellman and Inspector Chuck Byam, who are the commanding officers who lead our Road Safety Bureau and oversee the enhanced RIDE program. And every member of our frontline teams working tirelessly to keep impaired drivers off our roads. This includes officers, our law enforcement and community partners, the members of the public who are willing to report suspected impaired drivers, and you, the media, for helping get our message out. It includes everyone who steps in to arrange a safe ride for someone who shouldn't be driving, and everyone who makes the responsible choice to leave their keys behind after consuming alcohol or drugs. Each of these actions, each of your actions, contributes to safer roads, and it does truly save lives. And if you don't believe that, ask anyone who's lost a loved one killed by an impaired driver what they would do to stop that fatal decision from being made. This year alone, impaired drivers have claimed 2 lives in York Region. They've left 2 more people with life-threatening injuries, and they've caused dozens of other people to have less severe injuries. Recently, we saw a measure of justice delivered for one of our own, Constable Travis Gillespie, who was killed by an impaired driver. On September 14th, 2022, just after 6 a.m., Travis was on his way to work when a 23-year-old driver, who only held a G2 license at the time, fell asleep at the wheel of his Porsche, crossed several lanes, and collided head-on with Travis. It happened right here, just meters down the road from where we stand. And last month, a guilty verdict brought some sense of accountability, but it could never bring Travis back. And as Lori will tell you later, it cannot repair the profound loss felt by his family and friends. Or will it return the future Travis had ahead of him? It's a life cut short because of one selfish decision. Travis was only 38 years old. In York Region, we've laid almost 1,200 impaired operation charges in 2025. I want to say that again. Just this year, 1,200 impaired operation charges. And while that represents a marginal decrease from 2024, even one impaired driver is one too many. And that's why we step up our efforts every festive season. Because while thousands of people still choose to ignore the message and get behind the wheel while impaired, we will never weaken in our resolve to take every impaired driver off the road that we can. So that when innocent people need to drive in York Region, they make it home safely. Next week, we will see the impact of that work at an awards ceremony hosted by our friends at MAD, where we will honor citizens who made that call to the police to stop a suspected impaired driver, along with others who find innovative ways to educate our community and commit themselves fully to this important cause. Seeing these initiatives and meeting the people who are helping us make a difference makes me and my colleagues optimistic that one day we will see fewer arrests, fewer collisions, and fewer families devastated by these choices. And until that day comes, we know that every impaired driver that we take off the road may represent a life saved. So I hope that people who are watching this are listening to me. And I hope you hear me, because I never want to add to this group of people that are standing behind me here today. That is why we're here today, and that's why I thank all of you for your continued support.
We will now hear from MAD President Rebecca Blight, who will also introduce the speaker after her. So thank you, Rebecca, for coming up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Rebecca Blight, and I'm the current MAD President of York Region Chapter. MAD's mission is to stop impaired driving and support victims of this violent crime. I would now like to take the time to do a moment of silence for those survivors and victims. Thank you so much. With me today, we have some volunteers as well. We wouldn't be here without them. It really does take a community to support the victims of this crime. It is great to see everyone today. It's an amazing turnout, and I thank you all for coming. I thank you to our York Region partners, YRP and York Region Transit. As you can see, there's a bus over there with our mission statement. I'd like to thank York Regional Police for their unwavering and continued annual support for our Red Ribbon campaign. It's with great honor for me to now welcome Lori Gillespie, someone who has unfortunately had lived this experience from a tragic loss of her son, Travis, and who was a York Regional police officer killed on his way to work. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lori Gillespie. I'm Travis's mother, and standing with me here today is his life partner, Melinda Laporte. On September 14th, 2022, Travis was on his way to work. When he was killed in a head-on collision by an impaired driver at 6 a.m. The accident took place on Major Mackenzie Drive East here in Markham. The impaired driver crossed the center line and struck Travis's car, taking his life on impact. Being here in this location is very difficult for us. Travis was a York Regional Police Constable, and on the morning of the accident, he was on his way to work to serve and protect the community of Markham. Travis was only 5 minutes from his destination. Because he was so close to work, the first people to show up on scene were his fellow officers who knew and loved Travis. The pain and heartache that they experienced that morning, coming upon that accident and finding Travis trapped in his car, are memories and images that will haunt them. Travis was a country boy at heart, raised in a small rural community of Shiloh in Cramie Township. Travis always loved coming home to Shiloh, hanging out with his two brothers, and having fun with his nieces and nephews. Travis had a smile that was contagious. He was someone that everyone wanted to be around. He brought so much joy and laughter into the hearts of every single person he met. Oh, God. Any opportunity to help someone, and Travis would be the first one there, wanting to lift them out of the darkness and into the light. Martial arts was a huge passion of his, and after his death, a scholarship in his name has been set up with Hearts for Martial Arts. His dream was to become a police officer. He never gave up. In 2008, Travis was hired by Metrolinx and was later promoted to sergeant. And in 2019, his dream was fulfilled when he was hired by York Regional Police. In his 4th year with York Region, he began his training with the Emergency Response Unit. I'm so proud of my son for the man that he has become and for pushing himself toward what he really wanted. The last time I saw Travis was at his grandmother's 80th birthday, only 4 days before he died. Travis wanted to wear his officer's uniform to surprise his grandma for his birthday. The images that were captured that day of Travis in uniform with his Nan are now treasured so very much. One of the photos taken from that very day is now on Travis's headstone.
That morning, around 8:30, I received a phone call from dear friends of mine and Travis's. I remember his wife was on the phone and she couldn't control her crying. She asked me to sit down and I immediately felt my body go numb. I remember saying, "You better not say Travis's name." Her husband grabbed the phone and said those dreadful words, "Melinda, Travis has been killed." I remember being so confused and saying no, that's not possible, he's on course. But then he said, "Travis was killed in a car crash." My knees went out. I don't remember exactly what happened after that, but I was told a noise escaped my body. I remember calling Mom upset and wondering why no one had called me, why I was hearing this over the phone, so quickly to realize that she didn't know either. What a horrible way for her to find out her son was killed. The rest of the day was a blurry nightmare. People were showing up at mine and Travis's home, grabbing me and holding me, but all I remember was being numb. I remember laying on the floor of our bedroom, crying out his name and begging for my family to make the pain stop. I felt like my soul had been ripped from me and I lost a massive part of who I was that day. This pain because someone made the decision to drink and drive, to be impaired and get behind the wheel. As the days turned into months and the pain didn't lessen, I remember thinking, if this is how broken I am, I can't imagine the pain his mother and father must be enduring.
I don't really remember much about the day I received the news of Travis's death or the days leading up to the funeral. Still now, 3 days later, bits of memory sometimes come through out of the very darkness. In numbness, we just went through the motions. So many tears, so many people, hugs, food, flowers. But I do remember clearly seeing the casket at the funeral home and feeling like my legs were going to give out, knowing my boy was in there. That moment was reality for me. I remember the multitudes of police officers when we left the funeral home and thinking how very proud Travis would feel to be so honored by his brothers and sisters in blue. Since Travis's passing, my life's not the same. I don't expect it ever will be again. Mornings are rough. His death is the first thought upon opening my eyes, followed by the emptiness I feel in my entire being and the nausea in my stomach every single morning. I feel most comfortable just being at home. My anxiety has escalated. Sometimes I feel like I'm somewhat of a hermit, even refusing invites to social things. My grandbabies do bring me joy, but knowing that the youngest, you won't ever even know their Uncle Travis, makes me so very sad. We talk about Uncle Travis a lot so that at least they will know what he was like. And of course, we always have the photos. Sometimes I read our last conversations on my phone and I look at all his funny pictures and videos and then I cry. And then I think, why am I doing this to myself? Because to me, it's all we have left. My 3 sons were also very, very close. When I see my boys' grief and their pain, I want to protect them, but I can't. And my husband, Rob, he's still having such a difficult time. He doesn't want to talk about it. So I just continue on with my life, trying to be so strong for the both of us, when inside I'm just not.
Every single September, when the temperature changes and you can smell that crisp fall air, it hits our family right in the gut. A feeling of complete nauseousness that just sits in the pit of our stomach. A season that used to be our favorite brings memories and triggers of that horrific day. I lost my best friend of 26 years, the person I planned a life with, to start a family with, And now I try to navigate a life I didn't plan or I didn't want, a life without him. There are no more memories to be made or moments to be shared. No more pictures to be taken. It's just what I have left. Travis's life was just snuffed out at 38 years old. You don't heal from the pain of losing someone you love. You carry it with you every day. You just learn how to hold the heartache so that you can keep on breathing and living. For the past 3 years, our family has been waiting for closure. The amount of anxiousness we go through every time we walk into that courtroom. To see the man that took Travis's life and to listen to all the details of his death is excruciating. There is no time to heal when it is consistently going on.
On October 27th, after 3 long years of waiting, we finally got the verdict. Gathered with our family, friends, and fellow officers, we held our breath on the edge of our seats, waiting to hear what His Honor would say. When we heard him read the verdict, guilty on all counts, you could hear the sigh of relief in the packed courtroom as the air escaped our lungs and we all broke into tears. 3 long years. It's such a strange feeling to experience even slight joy in that moment, when nothing will ever bring Travis back. We will never laugh with him or hear his voice again or hold him. His life was just snuffed out by someone who chose to drink and drive, who chose to get in their car tired after a night of staying out and drinking. The moment that man chose to get into his vehicle is the moment Travis's life was over. We would like to take this opportunity to thank Mad Canada for having us here today and honoring Travis. We would like to thank all of our family and friends, as well as his fellow officers who have showed up and stood by us during court. Thank you to Peel Region for their expertise and professionalism in the investigation of Travis's death. And a big thank you for the continuous ongoing support and love from York Region Police and Association and our fellow women in blue. I would also like to thank the people who are here today who have also lost loved ones. And we appreciate and understand. Our hearts go out to every single person who has lost someone they love to an impaired driver.
In hopes to get the message out there, when you make the decision to drink and drive impaired, you take the risk of killing not only yourself, but someone else. I didn't need to lose Travis, my life partner. Mom did not need to lose her son, and Travis should not have died. So please make the smart choice and don't drive impaired.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, for your remarks, and Lori, Melinda, to both of you. Thank you for sharing such a deeply personal and difficult story about the loss of Travis. Your courage in speaking about your experience is both moving and meaningful to all of us. Thank you so much for your willingness to come today and support us. I also want to thank the friends and family that are here supporting and reinforcing the message. Very simply, plan ahead. Don't drive impaired. No drugs, no alcohol, no victims.